The sustainable community is one that has a variety of different needs and concerns, one of which is not to pollute the environment or the water or the oceans or lakes, to preserve nature as it has been living in for centuries, okay? And to be sustainable, it means in doing that you need to have infrastructure and systems that are man-made, or humankind, but that are also not violating that natural environment. And that's done primarily through infrastructure, water, use of waste, transportation, energy, even telecommunications. It's all things that have to be compatible with the environment. What I wanted to say is that the world today is becoming much more aware of the need for sustainable communities, in part because Al Gore's film An Inconvenient Truth and also the group of us from the UN, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, co-won the Nobel Prize. And what An Inconvenient Truth did and what the UN IPCs did was really make people aware that there's a problem and that we had to do something. And that problem was in part because of human beings. Now, what we did about it has to do with what I call the sequel to An Inconvenient Truth. How do we solve the problem? What do we do about it? How do we get our communities back to be in important parts of nature rather than violating nature? Well, you know, I'm here in Settimo in part because I did this book called Sustainable Communities, and we feature the region, and particularly, you know, work that's being done here in Settimo and also through ASM and other groups here in this particular part of Italy. And I think that's important because the kind of projects and things that are going on here are indicative of what can happen in other parts of Italy, let alone other parts of the world. And one of the key factors is you've got to integrate ideas. Can't keep things all separated in some way. They've got to be pulled together, leveraged with one another, and compatible with one another. The issue of nuclear power, let me be very clear about this, okay? It is, from my point of view, a mistake, a very bad mistake. And I can document that. I can quote statistics, which I do. As a matter of fact, I just received an email from one of your senators, members of Parliament, specifically about that because they'd read about my comments in the newspapers. And the point I'm trying to make is this: it's not necessary, it's costly, it's inefficient, and above all, it's dangerous. We have not figured out what to do about the waste, and more importantly, when you analyze how much uranium is left in the world, it's about as much as left as natural gas or even, for that matter, oil. Not a lot. So in terms of my generation, we're going to run out of it. Your generation, maybe you'll live long enough where there's a few nuclear power plants, but your children and my children, there's none going to be left. And why would we build billions of dollars of equipment and materials to not have that available later? The Obama administration has said that they would like to, look at nuclear as an idea for power generation. Here in Italy, I think you're going to have a vote about it, or there's going to be kind of a reconsidering of the vote that happened about 25 years ago. And I think the bottom line is this shouldn't happen. And I think it's a mistake of the Obama administration, and I think it's a mistake of the Italian public if they were voting this to come back. China is a mistake, and China is making a mistake, and we in the Western world have an obligation to help them look at other alternatives besides nuclear power and besides coal plants. You didn't mention that. They're building a lot of coal plants in China, too. I was an advisor to the Asian Development Bank to help look at other ways of creating energy that are not fossil fuel oriented or uranium. The summit in Copenhagen in December of 2009, I think, was an attempt for people to try to talk and understand things. But I've been there before and done this. I was in charge of the science and technology negotiations for a final report for the third IPCC report. And it was difficult because to get agreement among 120 plus countries or more is almost impossible. But when you get the two major countries, the two major polluters in the world, China's first and the U.S. is second, and they can't agree, then you're going to have a problem. You need to get these people on the same page and thinking the same way. And you have to start with defining what the problem is and what the solutions are. What we know they are today and what we know they're going to be 5 years from now.